Hi, Urban. First things first, if you could just address Gardner Minshew and his absence at practice today.
Yeah, it was a light day for the veterans, and he'll be here on Monday, a personal day. Norwell wasn't there as well, but they'll both be back on Monday.
Awesome. And then if you, obviously we had a lot of fun announcements this morning at the press conference, but could you also talk about the donation that the team will be making to the four schools that the name was changed by Duval County School Board earlier this week?
Yeah, I think it's awesome, and since I've arrived in January, Shad Khan and the Jaguars, it doesn't it's amazing me how much commitment they have to so many different charitable organizations. I think that is incredible, and what I've seen so far these last 4 months, I just think it's great for our community, and I'm so proud to be part of this organization.
Awesome. Thanks, Urban.
Yep.
Okay, we'll go to John Reed and then Gary Smith.
How you doing, Coach? Um, can you just talk about the progress of the offense and just how Trevor looked to you today?
Thought he looked great. Had a really good day today. He's just making steady progress. I want to say I can't give you a percentage of the installation, but we've been at it now for 3 weeks. And one of the advantages that we've had with Trevor, we kind of made a decision, I can't remember exactly when, that we were going to draft him.
Recording in progress.
And we started working with him, a good month before practices started. So he's been great. His retention has been great. Execution has improved. I just like, and so do I speak on behalf of Schottenheimer and Bevel, his seriousness and his approach to this has been fantastic.
And just a quick follow-up. What have you seen from the defense, as far as just what has stood out to you over the 2 weeks of these practices that you feel impressed or something that needs to get worked on? I mean, what's your just your opinion about how they've progressed so far?
Yeah, it's hard to give you a full evaluation. Obviously, that'll come after we do a lot more against each other. We only had 3 days against each other. I see a rebuilt secondary, even though CJ isn't full speed yet. He's getting close, but we have Ray Jenkins and Shaq added to the guys that are already there. So I'm anticipating our secondary to be one of the strengths of our team. We worked in free agency to help it. We worked in the draft to help it, and I feel we have some good core players there. So that's where you start. We also brought in Damian Wilson for maturity and experience to go with Miles, Jack, and Joe. And then we have some good young players behind them. So I feel really good about our personnel on defense, scheme. They're still learning it. And we haven't been, we're in the shorts and just only in it's phase 3. The players associate. We're not supposed to do a lot against each other. There's no winner loser, so it's hard to give you a true eval. But I like where we're at.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Gary, then D-Rock.
Yeah, Coach, can you talk about what you've seen out of James Robinson so far, and the guys who were the rookies last year who had to do everything virtually at this point? How much are these sessions going to help them progress?
Well, night and day. We're actually in team meetings now. We keep our distance from each other, but a team meeting is so much better than the Zoom. And I heard I wasn't coaching last year, but the horror stories about videos not being able to show videos. The technology wasn't great, so having them here in person have been fantastic. James Robinson is one of my favorite guys. He's I can't name a harder worker right now on our team, and that started in January all the way through whatever it is, June now. So I love that guy.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, we'll go D-Rock now and then Gene.
Hey, Urban, what have you seen out of DJ Chark as he tries to bounce back from a season that, he probably wasn't full strength?
Yeah, he didn't play well last year, and obviously his first year he was very good. I just didn't like his size, his strength. I just thought it was way below average, way below what we expect from our receivers, and he was told that. And the best thing I love about DJ is he addressed it and hit it very hard. Gained 7 pounds of muscle. He's playing a much more physical game. He's a big guy that played little last year, and that can't happen. Guys like Mike Thomas and Lewis Murphy are those big, strong, fast receivers, and he's got to play big and strong, and he can now because he is big and strong. So I just had ironically a good meeting with him as we walked off the field. we can't lose that strength and power gains that he made in the offseason. And he's committed to do it this summer.
What does it say to you about him when he's a guy that gets the negative review and then turns around and immediately addresses it?
Negative review. Yeah,
when you said he had to get stronger and bigger, and play better than he did last year.
Well, it tells you he's a smart player. This whole world's about increase someone's value, and DJ Chark can increase his value by getting bigger and stronger and playing that way, and he can also help us win. So I mean, I love the fact there is no resistance. He acknowledged it, and Sanjay's been working with him, and I love where he's at.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, we'll go to Gene and then Ashlyn Sullivan.
Hey, Urban. Hey, I apologize if you might have answered this the first question or two, but in this morning's video presentation, they mentioned how the Sports Performance Center was something that had to go up before anything else. Was that something that was already in the works, or did you sort of have to nudge them a little bit on that it was a more pressing issue for you in terms of getting what you needed to get done here?
Oh, I think I can't tell you what went on before our conversations with Shad, but I can tell you we spent an incredible amount of time on that piece, and just the understanding of the vision that we have as an organization, and that's to give the players the most valuable commodity of any organization are the players, and how do you invest back in the players, and that's always been for the last 30 years. I've always believed in that. I didn't say be soft. I didn't say, whatever. I work people hard, bring out the greatness in them, but also treat them like gold. Treat them like the way they earn that right as an NFL football player. I think you've earned that right as a college football player. I think you earn that right as a volleyball player. You've earned that right to get the very best treatment, the very best training that's possible. And if you don't get that, I think the players are getting they're not. That's not fair. So that was a big part of it. I can't tell you what happened before those conversations.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go to Ashlyn and then Hayes.
Hey, Coach. We've been talking with Rayshawn Jenkins and Shaq Griffin, and they were talking about how they always have conversations where they hold each other accountable, and it's almost like a great competition out there where the next person wants to get the next play. What have you been seeing out of those two? And it seems like everywhere we look, those two are together always. Yeah,
I can't be more happy about that. Some of our veteran coaches and others, colleagues of mine in the NFL, warned me about free agency, especially when you don't know the player that you're getting. And to say that I knew Shaq and Ray, I did not. However, I knew Louis Murphy very well from he's one of their mentors and a guy that they kind of grew up watching him play at Florida in the NFL. And I had some former players play with Ray and Shaq. So we kind of had an idea what we'd get, but they're actually been better than I thought they would be. And I'm not talking about football ability. I'm talking about people. I'm talking about work ethic, leaders on the field. They've been great.
Okay, Hayes.
Hey, Urban, the conversation that you had with DJ Chark, did you have to have that kind of a conversation with a lot of the returning veterans on this team about something that you saw that had to be improved?
Yeah, I don't know if it's fair to get too deep in it, but I did. I saw a team that didn't look very good, and I'm not talking about, my vision of a team is a big, strong, powerful, fast team. I mean, and it wasn't that way. And we had a lot of injuries last year, and that's why we made a lot of changes in that sports performance area. You followed our teams over the last 10, 15 years, and I'd expect to be as big and fast, as strong as anybody in the country. And that's in college, and in NFL, I expect the same. And yeah, we had a bunch of good talks. The good thing, there was zero resistance. They all agreed, and they knew that would. Now, you had to give them all the amenities to make sure that can happen. That's we hired. We have 4 strength coaches now. That's a bigger staff than we had in the past. Our training staff is not a bunch of trainers. I consider them experts. We do all in-house rejuvenation now, which is the dry needling, the cupping, the deep tissue massage. They didn't have that here last year. That's all here now.
Awesome. And then I was going to ask you, what's your philosophy on joint practices, and are you trying to get any joint practices lined up for training camp?
I've done some research, a lot of research on it. I believe we will. I don't want to tell you too much now because I don't know if it's finalized yet, but we are going to try to do a joint practice.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
We have time for 3 more. We'll go with Andy Staples and then Cassidy Hill.
Yeah, you guys have a pretty high percentage of guys attending these voluntary workouts. Is there something that you've done to try to make an atmosphere that makes them want to come?
That's a good question, Andy. We tried to, we've been around each other a lot. I just try to make sure they got the very best. And I said that this morning, I don't really believe that a professional athlete or a college athlete should have to go somewhere and pay for proper training. They've earned that right. And that's something I've always believed in, and we're going to do that here. If a player decides to go somewhere else to get better, then I'm going to go try to hire that person they're going to, because they deserve the best. I don't want to have a player tell me he can get better training in Phoenix. That shouldn't happen. It should happen right here.
How different is it for you? Because before you could go to Mickey and say, "What's up with this guy? What's up with this guy?" But it isn't that way now. How does that change for you?
It actually is that way here now. Our strength staff and training staff are getting very close to these players. I'm getting very close to these players, and I understand it's a business. I understand that, I actually had a team meeting about that. There's going to be cuts, there's going to be trades involved. That's going to be a tough deal when you get close with players like we do. But we're committed to give them the best, and I ask for their best in return.
Cassidy Hill, and then we'll end with Mark Long.
Hey, Urban, just 2 quick ones. First, DJ Chark has spoken a lot this past week about players' mental health and taking care of that. From your perspective, how much of that falls on the coach and the team, and what can you do to sort of, I guess, cater and help players take care of their mental health?
Well, I've been in this game for a long time. It's never been more prevalent than right now. This is a tough world right now for, it's a world that I didn't grow up in, and I've learned a lot in the last 20 years, how different it is. So it's something we address. We have a full-time sports psychologist on hand. I've talked individually with a bunch of guys, and we're on call 24/7 for that. And I know the NFL has tried to do a great job with that as well. So I watched DJ Chark's message. I'm so glad that he did it, because I think, these guys are role models for people.
And then just secondly, you recently just hired a new special teams coordinator. How did that process come about, and what is it that you liked about Sorensen?
Yeah, Nick came extremely highly recommended by guys on our staff that worked with him. I did a Zoom interview with him. I talked to Coach Carroll about him. And the system we have in place is, we're going to continue. I just evaluated. I really like the system that we had in place, and it changed dramatically in June. I don't know if it'd be fair to the players. And then when I interviewed Nick, we interviewed several people. I thought he was fantastic, and he had a great couple of days. He got off a plane, and the next morning he's coaching the team. So he's done great. Carlos Polk is very involved. We elevated his assignments as well, and I feel great about where we're at.
Was that part of the allure of him, that you wouldn't have to change systems?
That was a big allure, yeah, but he had to perform well, obviously, and his recommendations were off the chart, and he did a great job in the interview.
Thank you.
Last one here, Mark Long.
Urban, even though you had been here to these facilities 6 times previously, what was the most eye-opening part of when you were considering taking the job or taking it? Was it about the fact that it's not at the level that you want it to be, that it's not close to being the best of the best?
Yeah, in those days, I never, to be honest with you, I walked off a bus, walked in the locker room, and went on the field, and then got on the bus and went home. So we never really evaluated it. The story is that once the decision was made, we're going to potentially move forward, we got in a plane and we flew here and walked the facilities. And Mark Lamping, Shad, myself, Trent, we walked around and kind of put a vision together at that point. And that was whenever that was. And then later that day, we decided to move forward with the job and take it, and let's make this the destination place. And Shad was all in.
We have time for one more, Coach. One quick one. John Osher,
Yeah, Irving, can you just talk about your impression so far of Miles Jack? What do you think of him and moving forward with him?
Yeah, he's a alpha leader. He's a stud. I love the way he's worked. He was a little overweight. He lost that weight immediately. He's been A+ in the weight room and in training. And, you know, you need your Josh Allens and Miles Jacks to be who they are. And when I talk about core players, you know, everybody wants to talk about free agency and the NFL draft. I always try to make sure we mention the guys that I see core players. Does he have to play better? Yeah, a lot of the core players have to. But we've addressed it, and he's done everything we've asked and above and beyond since we stepped foot on in Jacksonville.
All right, thank you, Coach. You're
Thank
all
you.
set.